I wanted to be surrounded by positive people. I did not want the negativity in my life. It is so easy to get consumed in it, and your life is so much more difficult when you let yourself be consumed in that. And I realized really quickly that I was going to be my environment if I let myself be.
Everybody you'll meet has had a hand in the person I've evolved into today, and I'm so excited for you guys to know them as intimately as I do. My first guest is somebody who embodies everything I just spoke of with every ounce, every strut, every word, everything she does in her life. She is an Emmy award-winning, AMS certified morning meteorologist. She's amassed over 20,000 followers across social media. She's relentless in her efforts to not only help, but inspire young women in STEM. She is an unconditionally loving wife, daughter, and friend. She is a TikTok star, a retired dancer. She makes you ponder a new word besides hard work to describe her because her work ethic is that peerless. She is genuinely one of the most selfless and caring people I've ever met. If there is anybody out there that the pessimistic side of oneself can look at and say, wow, this person is truly divorced from reality and living in some sort of fantasy world full of joy and positivity, she's sitting right across from me, Samantha Jacques.
Oh, that was way too sweet.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. You have no idea.
No, I appreciate you so much. And after everything we've gone through, to finally sit down and be in here, it's almost like surreal.
You did it.
I know.
Like, look at this setup that you created.
And this was like 2 weeks ago that we were talking about this, and it was kind of like,
yeah,
gonna do it. And I was nervous, and I'm here now because of you. But
you're here because of you.
Well, thanks to you.
Always remember that.
If you didn't volunteer, maybe I'm kind of forced to be here, then
I was not forced to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Earlier in the week, me and you were talking about something, and I think it's something that everybody out there will probably be able to relate to, especially people around our age. But it trumped me for so much of my life, and me and you were talking about kind of coming out on the other side of that journey. And that journey is caring what people think about us and always wanting to please other people.
Yeah.
And I know for me, that's something I think that's consumed most of my life, and I finally feel like I'm in a place where I can relax and truly be myself. And I know you were talking about kind of some of the same things, but I want you to tell me your journey, and then I'll share my journey after. So tell me what that's kind of been like for you and now coming out on the other side of it.
Yeah, so I, for a long time, and still in some sense of it, definitely am a serial people pleaser. I love to make people happy and in turn and fulfill them. And I feel like I can do it. And if I just do the right thing and say the right thing and am the right way, that it'll make their day better. And that's kind of turned me into this serial people pleaser. And when you're a people pleaser, as you know, it's not always easy because it can lead to burnout and it can lead to disappointment. And you will come across people in life who you simply can't please. And that can be really, really hard and challenging when a lot of times, especially in the beginning of my career, I didn't even know I was a people pleaser. I hadn't put a word to it. I hadn't put a phrase to it. And then all of a sudden, I recognized what it was and that I was trying to please people to fulfill myself, right? As much as I thought it was for them, it was actually fulfilling me and fulfilling my cup to please them every single day. And I wasn't going to fulfill my cup if I constantly relied on other people to make myself happy. And so when I stepped back and realized, okay, you're not going to make every single person happy, ever. That simply can't happen. So I needed to find ways to make myself happy that weren't through always making other people happy. Yeah.
That's so true for me. I think when I started working at a country club for the first time was my like real dose of me wanting other people to like me. And I think it was like more of realizing that I was almost divorced from their reality of these people have millions of dollars, they're in expensive sports cars, and everything I was doing was to dress, to talk, to act like I was an equal to them because I wanted them to like me and to see me in that certain light. And then I would find out that some people value me because I was just my raw, authentic self. And other people, while they did appreciate me for that, those weren't the people I eventually grew relationships with. So it's such like a back and forth with me, I think, in high school of wanting everybody to like me. And then when sports and things comes along too, and as you know, being on different teams and wanting everybody to be fond of you, it is, like you said, really depleting. But what do you think, like, through all of it is like the thing, I guess, that you're most proud of like overcoming? Like, was there one moment in which you were like, I did it, like, I don't care what other people think anymore, I can just walk out of the house as Samantha and nothing else matters?
I think when I finally figured out who I was and that I cared way more about being myself and being confident in who I was and was so proud of myself that I didn't care that being who I am maybe didn't fill somebody else's cup up as much as I wanted it to. When I realized and found me and accepted myself for who I am, if people didn't like that, so be it.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy.
No.
And it still isn't easy. There's still plenty of times I find myself stooping right back to those old ways. But at least I can check myself now, There's
probably so many people watching this like, oh, you guys are so young. Like, why are you guys even worried about this? But I think it's so important for us to think about it now, and especially like knowing the places that each of us want to go, like having the groundwork laid now. So we're still not doing that, but it's so much easier said than done. Like, I think, like, I almost laugh at some of the stuff I used to do now to get people to like me. But in that moment, I think it's just like almost impossible to escape. Like, you can't see the other side of it.
And we might be young, it might be early in our careers, but it took a very short period of time in my career to realize, whoa, I have to put myself first at some point, because if I don't, I could let somebody make me into something that I don't want to be. I could let somebody take away my sunshine, right? And I can't let that happen.
Right. And I'm so glad you just talked about sunshine, because so many people out there, including myself, so many people, I feel like we look for other people and look for the environment to be right so we can be the perfect person. People say, oh, if my coworker wasn't like this, oh, if my car was better, oh, if this, then I would be the most positive, most optimal person. And your motto is be today's sunshine, which the first time I saw that hit me as you have the remote control. You're the sunlight and you're affecting the environment. Tell me, like, when was the first time, like, how did you come up with that? When's the first time that you really were like, all right, I'm taking accountability for my life and I'm going to be the one that dictates my environment and not let my environment control me?
Yeah, I think, well, for the first part of it, it starts with you. Everything starts with you, whether that be your happiness, your positivity, your life, your career. It starts first and foremost with you. And I realized early in my journey of becoming a meteorologist and really becoming a young adult that I wanted to be surrounded by positive people. I did not want the negativity in my life. It is so easy to get consumed in it, and your life is so much more difficult when you let yourself be consumed in that. And I realized really quickly that I was going to be my environment if I let myself be. Or I could control the environment that I'm in. And that's where Be Today's Sunshine came from. That's my signature. I say it all the time. It is up to me.
It's your email header, your
everything.
bio, it's everything.
Yeah, and I think the sunshine, I'm a meteorologist. I mean, the sunshine thing kind of came from that.
Yeah, a little wordplay.
Yeah, but, you can influence the room if you want to. And if you walk into a room and it doesn't feel right, make it right. And I realized that because when I first started and I didn't feel in control of the room that I was in, I recognized that it wasn't a room I wanted to be in. But sometimes you can't change the room that you're in.
Well, sure.
Or you can't change the people that you're surrounded by, but you can change the way that you act. And then inadvertently, all of a sudden, I noticed that when I changed how I acted, now all of a sudden this person was smiling and this person was smiling, and this one was happy, and then it all changed. And I'm so fortunate. I surround myself with like the happiest group of people every single morning, as you know, and that has made the world of difference.
And now I see why you're so good at your job. You're just such a professional. The way you articulate yourself and all your thoughts. It's so good. Like, it just, like, as you were saying that and talking about like you being the change, I think that's something that, like, it's so easy for me to understand now.
Yeah.
But before it was so easy, I'm sure a lot of people can relate of one bad thing goes. Somebody cuts you off in traffic starting in the morning. And now you just start on a downward spiral. Now you dropped your phone onto the ground as you're driving. Now your coffee spills a little bit. Somebody took your parking spot at work. And it's so easy, as you were saying, of like going on that decline to kind of just get stuck there. And then you start wanting every year, like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to keep going. And I tell Tyler all the time, who's here in the background, like, it's such a thing for me of like, I almost had to stop. Like, I would further my problems by keep talking about them. Something bad would happen to me, and I would almost choose to let it keep going. I would call my mom, tell her what happened. And now we're 2 days later, and I'm still in that same negative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So having that accountability, I think is just so vital. And I think it's like, it does almost in a way raise other people's vibrations. Like, I've noticed that, especially like recently, where I feel like if places I've been before and people that were negative, like, you maintaining a higher vibration ultimately forces people to resonate with your vibration
100%.
as opposed to you just going down. And that's something I've always like noticed about you. You know, all the stories that we talk about, and you're always up here. Like, you're all in, and that's so refreshing for you to always be up here. And I've read that like it doesn't do you any justice to go down to somebody else's level and you choose to be in a boat of misery with them. Like,
no, because the energy, and I truly believe this, and I could really nerd out. I could talk about like laws of conservation and really just like put it out there. But the energy that you put into the world is the energy that you get back. I believe that through and through. So if I walk in and I wake up in the morning and I say, we're going to do it today and it's going to be a great day, and I approach my day with that, that is what comes back to me. And the days that I don't choose to do that are the days that I do get stuck in that cycle, because that's the energy that I was putting out into the world.
100%. I told you about me starting meditating for an hour and a half every morning. And it's that same thing where before I felt like I had okay days, and now I feel like I'm in complete control. When I wake up, when I actually met somebody a long time ago who was telling me about a high five habit, high five yourself in the mirror. So at first I was like, no way, like, you're about to catch me high five myself in my mirror.
Nerdy.
And now I'm doing it, walking out of the house. I know, and it's so crazy, but it's like me looking in the mirror and kind of like hyping myself up. Like, I'm literally like coming into work like, all right, like, here's my intent for the day. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that I have like 2 legs to walk on. I'm in good health. My skin's getting decent. Like,
we're still working on it.
Yeah. That's
not your skin.
Oh, I thought you were
like,
coming for me.
in general, we're still working on those things. That's how Amari and that's how we first started talking.
About skincare?
You gave me your acne regimen.
Oh,
like
that
your
is true.
Your skincare regimen.
I
Okay,
actually
sorry, I'm
typed it up in an
derailing
email for you, didn't I?
It was a formal email of these are all the products that I used, because I was having like a mental crisis over my skin, which was really nice of you. We didn't even know each other, and you like took the time to write out this whole regimen.
I know skincare's always been something that's so big to me, because I feel like that's the first thing that people see. And my sister, her skin was looking flawless, and I take like every product that people have. Like, I'll meet people, I'm like, oh, what product do you use, and kind of take it in. And it's something that like I always notice about somebody. And when you first said that, I was like, your skin is fine, but it's so crazy like what other people see and like think about you. Like, I've never once thought like, oh, like Sam needs like an acne regimen. I'm thinking you're just hopping out of bed and living your life.
Well, here's the thing. If this doesn't work out, this podcast thing, which it will, a dermatologist might be your next calling.
I know we've talked about this before, but the weight of gold. You're a meteorologist. You're not doing your own thing on YouTube. You work for a huge news conglomerate, and you're a morning show meteorologist. Like, to me, you're just my friend, but to people, everybody knows who you are. Like, you're a celebrity in a sense. So
wannabe celebrity, maybe.
Well, here you are. Do you feel like that weight of the gold almost of something you've like been on a journey for and you finally achieved of having it now and having it carried every day? Do you feel like people kind of identify you as that, where you're the meteorologist before you're Sam?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you feel like that puts pressure on you to always keep it? Because at the end of the day, if something happens and you lose your voice and you're suddenly, God forbid, you lose your voice.
I can't lose that.
And you're not on TV anymore, do you ever think like, wow, these people still be here? Or
it's a good question. I wasn't a meteorologist first. That was me first. Sam, the daughter, the now wife, the sister, the girl on dance team, sorority president. I was all of these chapters before this chapter. And so without all those previous me's, right, previous versions of myself, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I know that even if this chapter closed, that it would just be another one that led to my next one. And I know that. Now, do other people know that? Would they value me as much if I didn't say that I was on TV every morning? I don't know. Are those the people that I want in my life? No. So I only surround myself with people that see every side of me. And if the only side you see of me is a meteorologist, then you don't really know me. So, yeah.
That's so profound.
Okay, I don't know. I came out of nowhere.
I know, and it's just like always like kind of like bubbling inside of you. Like you're just a walking soundbite. Like we're always looking for it.
Thank you.
But like that's just so true that was you first. And I think it's so true that the first time I kind of like asked you about like, well, when did you have like your spiritual awakening? You know, that's what everybody is always looking for. And you were like, this has just always been me.
Yeah.
This is just who Sam has been. But to me, that's so rare. Like I meet people, and for me, I know I was constantly overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm here. This is a new reality. And for you, you're just like, I've been waking up like this for so long. Do you have bad days? Like, does Sam have a bad day? Does she get down? Like,
for sure. I have bad days. My job in general doesn't really allow that. You know, if I'm having a bad day, I still have to go on every single morning and say, good morning, West Michigan. I'm meteorologist Samantha Jacques, and smile and do it. And so maybe part of that has helped train me to be able to put things aside and focus on what's in front of me in that moment. But I definitely have bad days. And I think that is why having such a strong support system is so important. I'm really, really lucky to have the support system that I do, because when I have bad days or I don't see the best in myself or I don't feel accomplished or confident, the people around me see my dreams as their own. And that is so important, because the days that I can't see myself for who I am, they can still. And that is really helpful, to say the least.
You were talking about the relationship that you have being something that influences you and impacts you. And I definitely see you as a glass half full instead of half empty kind of person. And I always have wondered how much of you having Austin by your side has played into that. I know for me, and possibly for other people, it is a bit daunting being single at times and navigating the dating world. And it can take energy out of you, and it can make you question yourself and make you question if what you're doing is okay. And there's a lot there, but you've had Austin for majority, almost your entire life now.
Yeah.
And now he's your husband. And tell me, like, have you ever sat and thought about, man, I don't know if I can last out here being single? And
yeah, I mean, the thing is I could not imagine I can't even fathom my life without Austin. We've been dating since we were 14. You know, like I don't know who I would be, what I would be without him. But I do know that the person that I've became because of him is super strong. And that, you know, I owe so much to him, but also like know the strong person that I am. So I do feel like I could navigate the world. Now, I would never want to, or I don't want to think like that, because I am so lucky and so fortunate. But I will say, in terms of like dating and relationship and all of those things, if a person feels like they're taking energy away from you, then they're not the right person. Because I have never once felt like he is taking energy away from me in any way, shape, or form. He only continues to add to my vibration and the person that I am. So just make sure that whether it be a partner, whether it be a parent, whether it be a friend, a coach, a coworker, if that person isn't adding to your life, then they're not worthy of really being in your circle.
And Austin, come on out here and give her a hug. Can you imagine we have him queued up in the background?
That would be wild.
I know. That's so cute. You even looked back and thinking that he might be here.
Kind of sad.
No, unfortunately, Austin's not here.
He's
but
studying.
That would have been a crazy surprise.
Yeah.
I think that me, like, growing up, I didn't really have that mindset. Like, I feel like there were so many negative people. And I guess it's, of course, tougher when you're younger and you're forced to have those people. Like, you can't really, get a new basketball coach. But I do think selecting now and being picky is so prevalent, especially in dating for men and for women. Like, I think it's almost like a mindset of you only allow somebody to hurt you as much as you've ever hurt yourself. So I guess it's always like a true representation to see somebody, and even though it's tough, you see somebody with someone that's hurting them, that's causing them pain in our eyes.
Yeah.
But to them, they've already experienced all that and already have it internally. It's always something that's like in the back of my mind of meeting new people, of meeting couples. It's always so awesome, I think, to find people like you in Austin where, I mean, like, I've known you for 2 years, and not that I would ever expect you to badmouth them just because of the person you are, but everything is so positive. It's so awesome. We were just talking the other day about a surprise for him, and like stuff like that is just so exciting for me.
I was going to say, don't you dare drop that.
No, I don't know. I think like something like that like makes me so happy. And I also have a couple of friends that are in relationships, but nobody that's really been together as long as you guys have and have that love. And for me, it's always something I value. I'll hear stories. Elizabeth used to tell me about her parents with they've known each other their entire life, and like having that as your person, I've always been like, man, that must be really special. But there's no way for me to go back and do it over again and experience that.
But you will find that. I truly believe that everybody can find that. Now, I was really lucky. I found it really young. I mean, I can't deny the fact that I am like so ungodly lucky to have somebody that loves me and supports me the way that he does. So I hope that everybody can find that.
There's a quote that I saw, and it said, it's okay to be vulnerable. The right people aren't going to judge you. They're going to ask you if you're okay. And that is literally you.
Yeah.
And from one of the first big moments that we had in my life of us together, and up until a week ago, you started off by asking me, am I okay, when I finished telling you the story. To me, I feel like it's so rare to find people that like immediately, and I mean, I guess we can just, this is a perfect scenario to put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going on Bachelorette after the past 5-6 months.
Devastating.
Of all the positivity.
Their loss.
In my ear asking me, hey, are there any updates? Did the agent get back to you? I'm not going on. And I was nervous to tell everybody. I think like, as of right now, like you, Tyler, and maybe like one other person are the only people that know. Like, I don't even think I told my mom and my sisters. Because like, in a way, I'm like, man, I'm really letting everybody down by not going on this TV show and not being out here. And I was so worried to tell you just because of all the support you put behind it and how positive you are. And how you also, let's be honest, been my therapist in so many relationships. I think everybody I've talked to, all their pictures is like...
This is true.
So I was so scared to tell you in a way because I'm like, man, I don't want Sam to be disappointed. And immediately the first thing you said was, well, how does that make you feel? How do you feel? Did you want to go on? Did you want to go on and be on there with her?
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, like I'm spending all the time worried about how do you feel? And your immediate thing is worried about how I feel. So the question is, when somebody's talking, are you already in your head like, I'm about to ask how they feel? Or is it just like a genuine emotion? Like, is it kind of programmed into you to ask how somebody feels? Or is that genuinely just the first thing you go to where you're just almost like not even privy to your own emotions in the situation?
I mean, I think that I take the whole thing of, treat people the way you want to be treated really seriously. And when I'm telling something to somebody or I'm confiding in someone, it's because I want to talk about how I feel. I'm not just going up and saying something to someone because I feel like talking willy-nilly. It's because I feel like I need to get that off my chest and I need somebody to hear me. And so like for you, when you're coming and telling me something, I know it's because you need somebody to listen and you need somebody to hear you, and you just need to talk it out because we're very similar in that way. And so, yeah, if somebody is saying something to me, I assume that it's because they need somebody to hear them.
And you're a really good listener. I
Thank
do have
you.
to always say, I think...
I don't know if everyone would say that.
No, you're a pretty good listener. Or maybe I just talk a lot because...
You do talk a lot. I talk a lot, though, which is funny. I think we're very, very similar people, which is crazy. Like, we have a lot of the same qualities, and so it's odd.
I'll always catch myself talking to you and kind of being like, all right, well, it's been fun. Go about your day, because I could just keep talking and talking.
Yeah.
And then we'll also cover like 50 different subjects. And that's the funniest part. Like, this is probably the most serious conversation for this
probably
long
is
we've
most
ever
serious.
had, because
Yeah.
there's always so much banter, joking, laughing, you rolling your eyes. And
Yeah. I told you that I was going to need fresh Botox before coming out here because I make way too many facial expressions. I'm like an open book. You could tell by the second you say something, I'm like, oh, come on, no. So, yeah, I'm trying to keep it nice and posed.
to me, every time I see you, whether it's on TV or seeing you in person, you're just so confident in who you are and what's going to happen for that day. And you're so positive, but you're human.
Yeah.
And so I'm always curious, like, was it always like that when you were a sorority president? Were you just as confident? When you were a dancer, you were just as confident? When you were at the station before, were you just as confident? Or when did you get to a point, or have you even reached the point? Because that's what I see, but have you reached the point where you're like, this is the pinnacle of my confidence, nothing can stop me?
I think I've learned how to act confident. I don't know if I really am inside as confident as what I portray. In life, like, I've always been having to work so hard to get something to happen for myself. Nothing has ever come easy for me. And now I've gotten to this point where I recognize that if I act like I deserve it, that it comes a little easier. And that is probably that sense of confidence that people get from me, because I do think that you have to act every single day, especially in the industry that I'm in. Like, they're not going to give me a seat at the table. I am a blonde, bubbly, young woman in the industry filled with white men. And if I don't act confident and I don't act like I belong at the table, I'm not going to get a seat there. And I realized that really, really early on. So I have to act confident.
No, it's so true. I think it's so many different circumstances of, obviously, of it not being the exact same, but still like sharing that, like, you're not the dominant force. Like, I go in places and I'm like, all right, even if I don't have everything memorized, I know the exact script for this, I know how this lighting is going to be. I'm like, I have to come here with that mindset, because unfortunately, whether it's by program or by choice, people are doubting us in a lot of different rooms, or not even expecting us to be that confident or have it together. So I've seen moments where I've done stuff and people have done whoa, wow, oh, wow, you've had it all together. So it's so funny that, to me, that's just the way my mom raised me, of like, do not go into anything and not be fully prepared.
Yeah, I walk into a room pretty much assuming that people put me at the bottom of the list, because then I'm always proving them wrong, you know?
So close your eyes for me for a second, Sam. And I want you to go into the happiest place you can imagine. Right now in your life, thinking about everything being perfect, whether it was last week and you were in Florida on the beach, which I am so jealous about. But go there, and then I want you to fast forward a little bit and keep up that same spirit of however you feel and how happy you feel in this current moment. And keep that, and keep progressing and keep progressing. And let's get to about 35.
Okay. More sophisticated than ever. Sorry.
And imagine all the things you thought of as a young girl manifesting and being in front of you. Everything you said and possibly cried about in private, everything you and Austin have discussed, your mom, your sister, everything you've written down in a journal, and it's all in front of you. What are those things? And now you can open your eyes and tell me, what do you look to manifest in the life, and what is there more? Because some people might look at you and go, wow, you're so young. You have this great job. You have it all. What more could you possibly want?
Yeah.
So what more is there out there for you to go get?
I hope to have fulfillment in so many areas of my life right now. Like, I have this amazing husband and this amazing career, and those two avenues are really, really full buckets. But like, it's time to start other chapters, make a family, have a house, like, be an amazing sister and aunt, hopefully an aunt someday. All of those things, right? Continue to fill all my different buckets, because I think that until you do, that something, even if you're doing amazing in one category, it still won't feel right. And so I just think that there are a lot of other buckets that I have to fill before then.
I think it's just, I see people, and it's the same thing of, like I say all the time about Tyler, where I'm like, man, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
How hard are you going to push yourself? Because to me, you can do absolutely anything. So.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm getting there. This hasn't always been me. I know this has always been you, but this has not always been me.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey, but I think it's just so, I like think for the first time in my life, and I think of doing something like this, which, like I told you first, I was like, it's just a passion project for me of, This is something that came to me in a meditation.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do it either at the beach in a green room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, a greenhouse, green room, huge
Yeah.
difference. But I was like,
Okay.
let's do this at a beach or a greenhouse. And I wanted
you
it to
did
be
it.
here. And we're here.
Woo!
If this is you literally manifesting what's going to happen to you in your future,
Yeah.
what are you putting out into the universe of, this is what I want?
What I want right now for my future, I want to be a chief meteorologist. I want to be surrounded by a team of people who I think could replace me at any point in time, because I want to be surrounded by that much energy and light and positivity so that we continue to fuel each other every single day. I want to have little kiddos running around, little mini baby me's and mini baby Austins. Those are the big things that I want. I want a house with a big closet with my wedding dress hanging at the top. I feel like I've told you that before.
You did say that. Didn't you say
Yeah.
you wanted it in a glass case?
In a glass case hanging at the top.
In the middle of the closet?
In the middle of the closet.
Carpeted
No,
closet?
in the back.
Oh, in the back. Okay.
Oh, I don't know if it's carpeted. See, I need to visualize these things a little bit deeper. But what I do know is that I just want to keep dreaming big. And I hope that at 35, I feel the same way about 45 and 55 and 105.
Suddenly you're
you know.
taking over the world.
Right, exactly.
I mean, we've seen it together. People already think you're Ginger Z, so I think that's a good start.
Oh, gosh. I'm not Ginger Z, but that could be some version of that, maybe.
It'll be the same version.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably have a book, too, like Dan
Ooh,
Harris.
that would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
What chapter do you want to be in? The positivity chapter?
Give me number 11, since 1111's always been my wishing thing.
Okay,
I'll
yeah.
take chapter 11. That would
Okay,
be cool.
got it. I'll pencil you in
You
right
can
now.
call it Every Rose Has Its Thorns or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
we already thought this whole thing out. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, and then on the third page, if you
Right.
could possibly do this for
If
me.
you could write that I said this right there for you, that would be great.
It's like a lot of people, whether it's on TV or in person, look at you and first look, go, wow, what a cakewalk it's been for her.
Yeah, so easy.
She's probably
all the
driving
time.
a Mercedes. She comes from a rich family. Everybody's totally happy. They're out in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But tell me the reality of you and the weight of being a blonde girl on TV going around and people's favorite movies and things being Legally Blonde
Yeah.
and that being
What,
kind of
like
the
it's hard?
association. You think it's a little hard?
No, it is. I think I never knew this stereotype of who I am and what I am until I got into the actual working world, and it wasn't really working for me, you know? Like, it was, even in college, I wouldn't even say into the working world, even in college, I was so underestimated and put into corners and put into boxes where I did not belong, simply because of how I looked and how I talked and how I acted. And there's that chapter of me. There's the chapter of me that, you know, in elementary school was failing every test and not passing anything, and learning and realizing that I had dyslexia and having to work so much harder than the kids around me just to simply read a chapter book. Then there's the middle school version of me who was super awkward, and, you know, everyone goes through that phase, but also just could never be the best at anything. And I wanted so badly to be. Like, I never learned the dances as quick as anybody. I always forgot the choreography. I, you know, always came in last place, it felt like, in my own mind. And then I got to college and chose this career that is so heavily dominated by men and this type of person that I was the absolute opposite of. And yeah, like I said, just so underestimated because of that. And then constantly having to prove everyone around me wrong. And that's exhausting at times. But now I think that I've had to work hard. I've had to work way harder than what people might look at.
And do you feel like it almost puts you into a place when you're chief and when you take on all these roles and you're in certain rooms of never knowing the journey that somebody else had to go through, and you having a little bit of more empathy for the next person of being, wow, it may look lovely and built up on the outside, but a lot of times that's a product of hard work, not a product of something being given.
Yeah, and I think that when you are someone who works so hard for everything that you do, despite everyone trying to stand in your way along the way, you can see that in somebody else too. You can quickly recognize somebody who is not working hard and has gotten there just because of their surroundings versus somebody who's put in the work.
Something that's been a really conscious thing, I think, recently for me is setting up boundaries. And to me, boundaries are educating other people on how you should be treated. And for so long, I didn't even know necessarily what boundaries were or how to establish them, because in order for me to feel whole, I needed everybody else to love me. So I would never declare a boundary and never not allow somebody access to me, never not allow somebody to say something or treat me a certain way, because I needed the attention and I needed them there. And now being at a place in which there's so much internal love where I literally sit by myself and I'm like, man, this is amazing. For the first time, I'm able to establish those boundaries and go, isn't how I want to be treated. This isn't how I would treat somebody else. And I'm curious, how have you dealt with boundaries throughout your life, and kind of what's your approach to having to set them up? Is it just as tough for you as it is for me to do that?
Yeah. I mean, I had no boundaries for a really long time. Someone said jump, I said how high. I still do that all the time. I think, and you hit it right on, that finding love for yourself is the first thing. Appreciating and valuing the things and the stuff that you have done in life to get to where you are at is the very first thing. Because once you can recognize your own worth, which I did not recognize for a very, very long time, you have no boundaries, because you yourself don't even know what you deserve. And then when you do finally recognize, this is where I deserve to be sitting, this is the room I'm meant to be in, this is what I bring to the table, then all of a sudden you can start to draw your own boundaries, because you know where you're supposed to be rather than to be pulled constantly different places and ways.
You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the levels of your systems. What are the systems that Samantha has put into place so that no matter what you fall on is a solid foundation?
Wow, that's a good one. Save the best for last. So what? So back in place. I have worked for everything that I've done. Everything. I graduated top of my class. I put in the hours. I make my dreams come true. So whatever I fall back on was because of me, and I put it there, and not because anyone else did it for me. And so people could strip all the external help and things away from me, but I always have myself to fall back on. And I believe 1,000% in myself.
That's lovely. Best answer for last too. That's wow.
Like,
I mean, if I was a crier,
right.
that would probably get me rolling here. Wow. And that's that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Sam.
that.